Hello everyone, one more time! And here you have finally the TSE X50 V2. And it includes some of the freeware plugins it had before. Those are the TSE 808 and the TSE X50. So now you don't need to use several plugins for your guitars. You have all of them included in this one plugin. And not just the screamer and the distortion, but also a lot more options. And in this video, from time to time, I will show you some clips of me playing the guitar, playing my songs with the TSE X50, so you can see how it sounds. And first of all, something that I think is very important, before starting to tweak this sound, I recommend to use a good impulse response. It's what we load in this module here, and this is what's going to give most of the EQ to your guitar. So if we start with a bad impulse response, no matter how much you try to tweak the parameters, it won't sound as you want. So it's a good idea to try all the impulse responses included in this plugin, and also you can download all my impulse responses. You have the links in the description. So the more you collect, the more options you have. So here we go! The first option we have is the noise gate. If you don't use a good audio interface, you may have some in your guitar sound, especially with heavy distortions, so you can adjust the threshold, fade and the attack. So if you record with your crappy integrated audio sound card, the noise gate won't do miracles, but it may help you. And then the next module is the famous TSE 808. And this module emulates a screamer, and I recommend to use it before the distortion because it cuts some of the dirty low frequencies in the guitar. Check the difference. So as you see, when we enable it, it cuts some dirty low frequencies, and it also makes the distortion more bright and powerful. So you can use it as an overdrive, but I prefer to use it with all the settings by default, and I maxed the tone. And then we have the head, where all the heavy distortion lives. And well, I used to lower the pre-gain because by default it has too much distortion for my taste. And then we have a 3-band EQ, the post-gain, the low end and the presence. I used to raise a bit the presence. And then we have the impulse loader with other features. And as I said before, choosing a good impulse response is one of the most important things to get a good tone. So with just this little tweaking and a good impulse response, it sounds like this. And what this plugin does, what really makes it worth, is all the extras that has above all the TSE freeware plugins, where you could only tweak the distortion and a few EQ options. So the X50 V2 has a lot of tweaking options. We can choose between different tubes, and we can tweak the tube behavior. I don't know the theory behind this, but it really works. So if we tweak the bias, we have different sounds. It makes the distortion behave differently. I don't know exactly how, but it works. And then we have a lot of options to modify the impulse response. We can modify the length, making the EQ curve more detailed or smoother. And then we have the movement. I don't have a clue about what it does, but this is why they included a PDF manual. And if we use it in stereo with two guitars, we can adjust the width, making the panning 100% each side or more centered. We have a volume control, and the phase. We can invert the phase, so if we have phase cancellation, we can avoid it just clicking on it. And we can disable the impulse loader if we want to use an external one. And it also has these extra effects. And I really recommend the equalizer because it has a low pass and a high pass filter. Sometimes with the distortion or the impulse response we are using, we have some low frequencies that makes the guitar a little bit dirtier. And also some high frequencies like that gives a digital feeling. So I always use the high pass filter, and most of the times it's good to set it at around 100 Hz. And the low pass I used to set it at 10,000 Hz. Those settings don't have to be necessarily like this, it depends on each mix and the sound you want. And it also has an adjustable 3-band EQ. So let's see the little difference it makes. In this case the difference is really subtle, but with some impulse responses it may be a lot bigger. So well, even if you don't notice any difference, I recommend to use it because you can get rid of some of the digital sounds that the distortion makes. And it also has a tuner. It's basic, but it's very important because if you record with out-of-tune guitars, it will ruin your mix for sure. And for this solo guitar, it also has a ping-pong delay, so the echoes will be panned left, then right, then left, then right. And we can cut some low and high frequencies of those delays. And with the width, we can adjust the panning of the delays, 100% left and right or more center. And we can adjust the mix. And for the delay time, we can adjust the milliseconds manually, or we can link it to the tempo of the song, so we don't have to figure it out by ourselves. And one more time, it's really important to use a good impulse response to get the sound you want. So, well, I hope you enjoy this plugin as much as I do. I doubt it. If you don't want to pay, you also have the freeware versions of TSE plugins. And that's all for now, and as usual, see ya one more time!